Good morning, traders. It is 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on Wednesday, the 6th of July, 2022. As time tick tocks on and on and on, here's another episode. This is episode number 2266, 2266. I want to remind you that derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. My sound and voice should be booming. Booming. Just kidding around. Um, Looking at the convergence trading pre-market summary sheet, we see that we are mixed to slightly risk on this morning. The key risk events, so to speak. There's a lot. There's a lot coming off across the news feed that really isn't market moving. But one of the key elements is, of course, the resignation by the Minister of Finance in Great Britain. A very big shot against Prime Minister Johnson there, and causing some moves in the cable, and pushing the dollar higher yet again. There are also some demand concerns for energy, commodities, and retail. You saw yesterday copper is down like 4%. Crude was down as much as 9.8% yesterday. 9.8%. No small number there for a fundamental global product. And then, of course, retail is still a drag. The markets continue to just sit sideways, it seems. So we are really not digesting much new information. The market's awaiting the non-farm payroll unemployment number this Friday out of the U.S. Earnings kick off next week, and we're looking at some key numbers today. ISM non-manufacturing PMI. We do get some comments from Feds Williams right now, but we're looking for non-manufacturing PMI. That's a high tier number, expecting 55.2. The JOLTS job openings, which is at record highs and is not subsiding. The prior is 11.4. The expected is 11.3. You should look up this number. It's kind of interesting. These are job openings in the U.S. And 11 million jobs that are not getting filled. And then we have the all-important FOMC minutes today at 2 p.m. Eastern. 2 p.m. Eastern. And then this evening we get balanced trade for May for Australia, expecting a surplus of 10.7 billion Australian dollars. So that's what's ahead. But if I look at into the following week, we have the zoo number next Tuesday for Germany, balance trade out of China also on Tuesday. Then we get the inflation number on Wednesday out of the U.S., and then PPI, U.S. PPI on Thursday, China GDP on Thursday, and retail sales on Friday, Michigan sentiment prelim on Friday. So there's quite a few numbers, and there are quite a few earnings as well next week, and that's basically where we are. We're kind of sitting around waiting for the next big thing. You can see that the U.S. indices are completely sideways. I mean, you're looking at the chart. I'm looking at my overview chart of the Russell, the Dow, completely bounced overnight session. Same in the S&P, same in the NASDAQ. The S&P has drawn a beautiful Gaussian bell-shaped curve with the point of control, the mid, and the full session VWAP on top of each other. We'll discuss that in a bit. But the Europeans are really carrying the load today, pushing higher. The Euro Stoxx 50 up 173 basis points, and German DAX up 141 basis points. The S&P, we have, it says multi-distribution, but actually it is balanced. 238,000 contracts traded. The inventory is 49% short, which means, yet again, that 49% more of the volume took place under settlement than above. So the market's positioned short 49, or the inventory is 49% short. The range is 40, which is quite a collapse versus the prior session, which was at 80 or so. What was it yesterday? It was 79 and a quarter, and today it's 40. So what is this setting up to do? Let's take a look at our TPO chart. So this is yesterday here. We opened yesterday. We opened right on top of what we had beat to death. The price, 37.75. Like I said yesterday, we are hovering around that price. This is the magnet in the area. The secondary magnet's way up here at 39.10. And then there's a tertiary magnet down at 36.75, something like that. So we open right on top of the 37.75. This looks like a 1, but it's actually a 7. 37.75. And then we proceed to check prices to the downside. We really struggle to chisel out. I'm talking about really chiseling out this low. Not the best low in the world. It did not see excess. Then it crossed all the way back into balance, and then it tested the other way, only to settle at the high. So that's where we are. Settlement yesterday at 38.34 with the high of 38.35.75. Quite bullish action yesterday. But you know what? We didn't take out the 40 from back here. We still have single prints just above. We did not give back into this long selling profile from last week. And we are just, we are trading right up against it. So what do we see? We expect, given yesterday's close, we expect that it is likely to float up on the Globex session, on the overnight session, and it did, because the overnight high, as indicated, is 38.48.75, whereas yesterday's high was 38.35.75. So it went up 13 points beyond the high of yesterday. It did poke 38.40. It did not breach 38.50. It took it out, Sunday night, Monday night, during the holiday, but it didn't quite take it. It didn't check it yesterday. We still haven't taken the 38.40 out from way back when, way back from last week, Wednesday. I think Wednesday of last week. Tuesday was the selling day. This is Tuesday right here. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And this is Monday's, this little nubbin here. We should ignore. It's Friday's, Monday's holiday trading. And so we are holding steady. We're just doing this up here in the S&P. So what we haven't done is move back. So it's really important this morning to watch and see how it responds early on. Do we reject the high? Do we reject the high? We closed very strong here, but we opened way down here the very next session. Do we reject that high and go back to balance, and therefore it's outside in trading, mean reversion type trade? Or do we pull back a little bit and then catapult? And if we do catapult, then we're looking at a whole bunch of levels up above to concern ourselves with. Let's look at the intraday chart. This is the volume profile chart. And again, we held on to the 40 up here. This is the 40 from way back. And what we've done this morning is built a very Gaussian profile, a very balanced profile. Let's zoom in a little bit. So you can see the point of controls right here. The full session mid is right there. Full session VWAP's right there. So what we have is a completely balanced profile. We're opening imbalance in range at the edge of the range, which makes it kind of interesting. we have a lot. Essentially, what we have is a lot of fuel packed together for the next move. Volume's pretty decent, 240,000 contracts so far in the overnight session, and we are, do we try to test the 38.10? If we test the 38.10, we're very likely to fall back into the 37.80, and then we'll likely find ourselves back in the magnet at 37.75. So if it does push through the 38.10, I want to see what it does at 3800. Remember, 3800 was key yesterday. So if we look at yesterday's action, let me fix this chart. If we look at yesterday's action, you'll notice in the overnight session, the 3800 had quite the battle right here. Pulled back, 38, 16, 17, and then busted through. And then we came and took it back in the overnight, in the day session. We did not pull back to the 3800 prior to continuing. So if we turn over and we go to 3810, I'm looking for 3800 to be a base again. If it's not, then it is likely to move all the way down 37.75, giving us about 25 points of range there on the short side. This would be more balancing, okay? More balancing, more continuation to the downside, and so on and so forth. So this is where we are. This level here, the stock zone here, has been carried over from the past. Has nothing to do with the overnight action. This was put in before the overnight action took place yesterday. So it's responding to this stock zone. I'd have to look at my notes and see what where it came from. 3840 is the over underline. It's the key over underline for this region. So if we can get above 3840 through the 3850 and pull back, this is likely to be a long to 38 what? 3880 is the number above. That's what we're looking for. So being as we are at 3830-ish, trading at 3435 right now, the 3880 is well within reach this morning. So I could draw a bunch of lines on here, but it won't mean much. We need to see, really, we need the input of the market to see where we're likely to, what we're trying to do, and to see how it responds. So if it starts to push lower early on, then we're going to see how it treats the 3810. If it breaches the 3810 and is weak on pullbacks, I'm looking for short at 3810 to break the 3800 back to the 75, and balance continues. The market continues to bounce around. But if it pulls back a little bit, impulses up, consolidates at 3840 and starts to push, then I'm looking for the next stock zone up here. Some single prints at 30. The exact number is 38.75 and a quarter is what I'm looking for. 38.75 and a quarter right here. So let's round to the nearest handle. 38.75 becomes a target from 38.40. That's the other trade I'm looking for. Those are the two main trade ideas. Beyond there, you're getting back into this balance box up here, which is at 39.10. So if it does not hold the 38.75, then we're looking at 39.10 as the next key area to test above. And again, 37.75 below. So 38.10, 38.10 test, 3800 to 00. And if those don't hold, then 37.75. And heck, if all hell breaks loose and we break the 40, then guess what? We are back in this push to 37.15, 37, if you recall, 37.12 was that double top. And if it takes out that double top and continues, then we're in that lower balance we talked about yesterday right here. We're back at 36.75. So it's interesting. We're trading the 30, for a while earlier this year, we traded 20s, the 20 handle. So we would go from 40.20 to 41.20 to 42.20 to 41.20 to 40.20. Now we're trading the 75 handle. So it's 37.75 balance, 38.75 target. If it takes out the 37.75, then we're looking at 36.75. I didn't plan it that way. That's just how the volume is showing up. This is what the market is showing us. But just keep that in mind. So if we give up the 37.12 area and get through this thin area, then we're looking at 36.75. That becomes the target. Again, I want to remind, and that's all I have to offer for today. There's no sense in me continuing to blabber on. I do want to give a quick blip on where we are delta-wise. Delta yesterday was very interesting. So if we look at yesterday's action, the S&P shoots up, Delta shoots up. All three levels of participants are on board. It goes sideways, Delta goes sideways. Then it starts to sell off, and you can see there's quite a bit of selling in the S&P here. We take back that entire rally from Friday. The Delta's not with it. You can see the large lots are not playing along. Then the market opens, and large lots get long early. The very large lots hold steady, but then sell a little bit. Then small lots get really strong, really buying into this rally, and large lots finish the day pretty much flat. So to me, this looks like, even though, and I see this in a tape, it's really two-sided. You know, there's 800 hits, 740 lifts, 100 lifts the bid, 120 hits the lifts the offer, 120 hits the bid, and it just keeps kind of bouncing. On the larger size, they just keep staying balanced for some reason, and it just doesn't make very much sense to me. This morning, we see everything is above zero. The market is in balance, but be aware that participants, the aggressors, are positioned to the long side. They're net long while the inventory is net short. So I'm looking for a quick move out of this balance area at 38.35 or so, or it's more like 38.30. I'm looking for a quick move out of there because there's an imbalance between what volume has traded above or below the close versus the delta this morning. Okay, so that's where we stand. I'm not seeing many dots, big trade clouds on here. Fairly muted session, good volume. Just, wait for the first few minutes. Let's see if this market responds down, pulls back weak, and then attacks this 38.10, 38.08 area. Let's see if it does that, or let's see if it pulls back. Then it gives us an impulse higher. If I see an impulse higher through the 38.40, I'm looking for the long. And what's my target if I'm long? So pop quiz. What's my target if I'm long? If I'm looking to get long? What's the big trade if I'm looking to get long? Let's see who's got it. Who's got it? 38.75. What am I looking to? What do I need to see to consider the 38.75, 38.80? What do I need to see? What do I need to see first? I mean, great, it gets 38.80, but if I'm not on the trade, then it's just academics. We're not here to be academics. We're here to trade. What do we want to see? Right, impulse through, a strong push through the 38.40. We're going to look to trade the pullback. Here you have a price action double top. And for those pattern traders, you have an inverted head and shoulders, if you like to look at things that way, with a pivot right here at 38.38. But we're looking for it to impulse through the 38.40. Then we're looking to trade the pullback with a decent stop. Currently, I'm using about 4.5 points. And then now we've got a trade on the hard right edge. And we're looking for it to hammer through 38.50 and run through to 38.75, 38.80. So that's the upside. So let's continue our quiz. It's finals week. Let's continue our quiz here. We have a couple minutes. It decides to open the inventory short, it rebalances, and then it breaks lower in what seems like an impulse, weak pullbacks. What am I looking for here? What am I looking for? We're looking for nothing yet. We're looking for probably a scalp into the overnight low for the overnight stat. But if it breaks the overnight low with an impulse, I'm going to put an impulse arrow next to it. This is an impulse arrow here. If it breaks through the 3810, then I'm looking for a pullback into this 1520 area. Okay. These are not trade recommendations. I'm simply sharing with you what I'm looking at as the big trades. I'm looking for a pullback to the 1520 area, and I'm looking for what to the downside? Correct. 37.75 rebalance. A reversion to balance at 37.75 with a very likely pause at 37.90. So 37.90 likely to give us a little bit of a break, but looking for 37.75. Those are the two main big trades of the day. Okay? Hopefully you're learning how to trade versus learning to follow what I'm saying. Hopefully you're gaining something every single time you're here. Good luck, and please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and set notifications if you like, although I've been told the notifications are a bit late. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and in that way you'll always know when something's posted. Good luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Trade smart, don't gamble.